I know what you're thinking. Why do these paints cost that much? And are they worth it? Well, that's what we're here to find out on today's episode of Cheap versus Expensive Gouache. What's going on YouTube? My name is ADCArtAttack, his name is Kiba, and welcome back to a brand new episode in my Cheap versus Expensive YouTube series. Here on YouTube, obviously. I've also got some content on Patreon. There'll be a link down below in the pinned comment. This is the series where I, ADCArtAttack, take two art supplies in the same category, put them up against each other to find out which one of them is worth it at the respective price points. And today, we're back to gouache. Again. This love affair between me and gouache is getting a little bit out of hand. And I love it. Now, like I said in the intro, this thumbnail does appear to be a little bit disingenuous, but let me explain. These sets are not equal, nor in the case of Winsor & Newton are they complete. Another important factor is that this collection of the Winsor & Newton designer gouache is only 10 of the possible 89 colors, with each individual color ranging greatly in price. It makes my life pretty difficult. And the reason this makes my life very difficult when it comes to pricing these is because we have several options to choose from. Option 1, I take 10 of the colors from ARTEZA to match the Winsor & Newton collection, figure out the prices of the ARTEZA ones individually, although they are not available separately. Yeah, and then we go from there. Option 2.
I purchase the same 60 colors as ARTEZA with Winsor & Newton, figure out the individual price point of each and every color, and then use that price point to price.
Oh. No. Final option, I use the price of the entire collection for each brand. Yeah, see, there ain't nothing wrong with being lazy. Being lazy means being smart. So let's take a look at the paints we're gonna be using today. In my hands, I am holding ARTEZA's 60 color set of gouache, their entire color range in one pack for the low price of 30 euros or $40. That's actually really cheap. Oh, by the way, I have an affiliate link. You wanna buy some of these? There'll be a link down below. Now for the expensive side, I have the Winsor & Newton Designer Gouache 10 paint set, which came in at a price tag of 30 euros or $40. So, equal in price for a lot less paint. Now Winsor & Newton do offer an entire range of 89 colors. The problem is, they're not available as an entire set. Now the reason for this is many of the paints that Winsor & Newton supply do not come in at the same price. Many of them come in at around $10 to $15, while some others come in between $15 and even up to $25 per paint. This means that the minimum price, assuming all of them were the absolute lowest, would put the prices between $900 and $1,100 for the entire color range set. But we know that's not true. We know that many of the colors do price very differently, so you're looking at least $1,100 plus for the entire collection. Before we dive into today's battle, it should be known that I am not a gouache professional. Having only 2 months experience with gouache, that could be positive, or I'll just have no idea what I'm doing. Either way, it should be fun. Right? Just a quick heads up, Kiba plushies. We have only a few days left for you to get your orders in for a Kiba plush. Remember, we have to hit 200 for them to go into production. And if we don't make that goal, don't worry, you will get your money back. But look how cute he is. Don't tell me you don't want a Kiba plush. I designed this, so, you know, this is my art. And it's cute. Is you cute?
Alrighty, so it's about time we got started, but before we do that, we need a character, something on this sheet of paper that we can use as a battleground for our tests. And with the release of Multiverse of Madness just on the horizon and my excitement growing each and every day, Strange. Doctor Strange. Yeah, there was supposed to be some kind of joke in there somewhere, but I just couldn't figure it out, so... Now, this drawing, firstly, was done live on my Instagram. Go follow. Secondly, this drawing has a sort of my own style to it based off of this image of Doctor Strange. That said, as with all of these episodes, the drawing is not important. The quality is second. The main focus is to test the products. Oh, and this is a light pad. It's an artist's magic tool. So go get one. it's going to allow me to trace my rough drawing to my final paper, keeping only the finalized lines in place. Whether you are inking or just doing it as I do, it's a very, very essential tool to have. Get one. With all that being said, our strange drawing is done. Time to get on with the painting. So, moving on. Now then, diving into the cheap side of life first, I wanted to begin with a slight background. Usually I'd skip this part, but using gouache, it'd be nice to expand our range of testing to a larger than usual area. This is a great chance to see how they handle coverage and movement across wide areas, and yeah, obviously I'm using the wrong brush, because it's me. Now I'm only flicking white on top just to see how the colors work with layering. It did fade a bit. Maybe I can touch some more in. Nice. So as we begin with Doctor Strange himself, we gotta do some layering with the colors. Now this is entirely up to you how you go about this, because these paints are incredibly versatile. You can use them as watercolors, you can use them in the way you would acrylics, you can use them, I don't really know how else. You can just kind of do whatever you want to do, and that is what I love about gouache. Quite possibly one of my favorite things about these is you don't need to have a clear direction or idea in mind when you start. Because they are so versatile, because they can be reactivated, you can just go as you please, as you go, changing your mind and mixing things up. You can decide which direction to take at any point. You really do have that level of freedom, and that's exactly what I'm doing here. I'm not going in with any direction in mind, I'm just going to see what happens as we begin. Now let's just say we wanted to add some extra unnecessary details later on. Maybe we thought to ourselves, that looks boring. I want more. Now, I'm not putting anything that makes any sense down. This is just a demonstration of how awesome gouache can be that I'm literally adding to an already colored area. It's just perfect. Honestly, this is one of my most favorite things about the ARTEZA Gouache is how versatile they are. From thick to thin, I feel my entire range is covered. So I think at this point, it's pretty clear that what I'm doing here is very rough in appearance. There isn't much cleanliness going on here. I'm not going for very smooth blends. And I want you to know that this is entirely on purpose. What I'm doing here is allowing myself to be as free as possible without any serious thought behind it. That, in my opinion, is the greatest strength of gouache, is that I don't have to focus. I can just do art for the fun of doing art without trying to achieve serious results. And actually, I do prefer the way it looks. I love the rough texture, the way it looks organic. I want to point out some negatives, but it's kind of hard when I'm enjoying it so much. So it's no secret that gouache is pretty much a watercolor. It is meant to be used as a... You can use these however you'd like. But most people will say to you it should be used in a watercolor style, which, for those who are aware of watercolor, is quite chaotic and... everywhere. But make no mistake, these paints are fully capable of doing precise, tiny, small, detailed areas of artwork. I mean, take a look at this cape, for example. There are areas here which are quite small and I want to apply some sort of texture to them, and I'm able to do it. All I need to do is just not wet the brush too much or at all, and I'm able to apply these as you would any other sort of thing. So now we are at a point where I have actually run into a problem with these paints. These tubes absolutely suck. I think it's universal that most people do dislike paints in tubes, and the reason being is that once the paints dry, they pretty much become, that's it, useless. And this is true for gouache as well. Although you can reactivate them, the tube itself is just, how am I going to reactivate that? So I've completely lost the use of one of the key skin tones for Doctor Strange, which means I have to mix my own. Now, I am not a professional painter. The color spectrum is something I'm not super familiar with, and I am now going to have to learn to mix the skin tones. Yay. But once I got the color I needed, I actually had a really great time doing the skins. I took inspiration from the series Arcane because that is how I learned to use gouache, and it is something that I've kind of adopted now as a style. It really is a great style, and it really works well with these characters. Any character. Doesn't matter what character. I love the style, so I'm using it. Seriously though, this is like the easiest I've ever had to color skins. I mean, it might not look amazing, I don't know. But the fact that I have zero stress, zero fear because of gouache, and the fact that I can layer, I can pretty much erase, I can blend, I can do anything I want directly on the canvas, it just makes life a lot easier. Okay, so there you have it, guys. The cheap side, the ARTEZA side. I don't want to call it cheap because ARTEZA is amazing. The ARTEZA side is complete, and this is looking really good. Now, I don't want to spend too much time talking about this one. We will talk about this at the end of the video. You know, we kind of got to get on with another side, so... But yeah, this looks great. I mean, I'm really happy with the results. Now, I didn't spend a whole lot of time on this one. That was intentional. I was trying to use the paints, trying to figure out some positives and some negatives, and there really wasn't many negatives. I think it's time we just jump into the expensive Winsor & Newton side right now because, I don't know, I'm kind of excited. I've never used an expensive gouache, and I really do love the way these ARTEZA ones look, so yeah, this is going to be fun. Let's go. Okay, so immediately I was thinking, this may be a boring video. I mean, will there really be much difference between the two? Yeah. Yep. Big difference. What is that? Okay, so unlike ARTEZA, I don't have many colors here, and that means mixing. Fine. But oh my gosh! They are so much thicker than the ARTEZA. Whoa. Whoa. Okay. These colors are way more, I guess, pigmented? I don't know. All I know is they look so much better. However, yes, there is a but. I seem to be having some trouble reactivating these paints on the paper itself. And I'm really hoping I'm just making some mistakes somewhere. But that could be a problem. Drying times. So, these paints dry quick. And I can't say whether that's a good thing or a bad thing. It's entirely user-based. For me, I'm absolutely loving it. Because I can work in my style of minimal blends and a more rough look without unintentionally blending, which is great. Although, despite my worries before, I can reactivate these paints, and that is working out nicely for switching colors out if I go too dark accidentally. So just like I did with the ARTEZA side, I wanted to do some extra details on the cloak itself. This was purely for the sakes of comparison to see how well they layer and how well I can go back over an area and create the effects I want, should I decide later that I want to add extra details. The details I'm adding do not match the other side. That is not the point of this. The point of this is to show what I can do. This is really, really easy. So when it comes to adding lighter colors on top of the darker colors, that is the true strength of these paints. I mean, it's fantastic. They are so opaque that you cannot see the colors underneath. But if I wanted to, I could add more water and slowly blend them into each other. Granted, it's not the easiest thing to do, as I keep saying throughout this video. This particular brand of paint isn't the easiest to reactivate. But the benefits sort of outweigh the negatives in that aspect, because I really do like the style I'm going with today, and it really does cater towards that style. Right, so there is something I'm going to have to nib in the bud right now, and that is regarding the skin tones, because I know many of you will be commenting at this point saying how bad the skins look as we go through them. Firstly, I want to say that these skins are entirely based on my ability to mix colors, and my ability to mix colors sucks. But they will progress and change as I go. Secondly, I want to say that I only had a limited amount of colors from Winsor & Newton. This puts them at an immediate disadvantage to the ARTEZA ones, so please do not compare them on their results. Compare them on what I'm telling you and the way that I'm using them throughout this video. It is not about the results. But I must say that when I was mixing the colors on a palette, the colors did not match the way they looked on the canvas. I don't know why this was happening. They kept changing every time I used them on the canvas. I couldn't get the exact same color I was making. It was very frustrating, and it took me some time to get the colors I was, I guess, satisfied with. And there we have it, everybody. The Doctor Strange. Strangely strange, yet painted strange. It's complete. What do you think about it? Do you like it? Do you love it? Let me know in a comment down below. So, looking at them, a tricky one. The results here are so similar, bar some color picking differences. The only true way to know the differences, I'd say, are through the video itself. But let's take a quick look and overview of each side, starting with ARTEZA. Ooh. Where to start? Just a mere 2 months ago, I discovered gouache for the first time, and it was through these paints. So there definitely was some nostalgic ties here. Over the course of our previous videos, including today's, these paints have been consistently amazing, with very few issues to speak of. The paints themselves are very easily reactivated, giving me a full level of freedom and peace of mind should I make a mistake. The speed they layer at could pose issues for layering without care, but honestly, I haven't noticed any problems. The price and range of colors made them an easy grab and go set. I wasn't pressured to know my color spectrums, and I had what colors I needed on hand at all times. Only mix in when I felt like being extra. Now, for the Winsor & Newtons, well, some may say this test is unfair as I didn't have the full colors, and that's a fair argument if my comparisons were based on the final results. They aren't. It's on the product. That said, these colors, wow. So pigmented, so beautiful, so vibrant, so solid. Definitely superior in even layering, but quite thick. And that thickness required a more conscious effort, not necessarily more difficult, but it did require some more focus and control over your water levels in particular, making them a little less free in mindset and more focused. So, we are at the point of the video where we ask which is worth it, the $40 60 color set of ARTEZA paints, or the $1,100 plus 89 color Winsor & Newton collection. Honestly, this is by far the most difficult episode I've ever had to judge. There is no clear winner. And the winner here is going to be entirely based on preference. Or for the viewer, your opinion is going to be based on my results using them here today. I believe Winsor & Newton are the superior in terms of quality, no doubt, with ARTEZA having a price far and above better, in my opinion. Not only that, but ARTEZA suit my style more, a more casual, less focused, and more rewarding of freedom, allowing me to feel completely comfortable when using them. So with all that being said, my winner is... cheap. ARTEZA.
So there you have it, everyone. The video is complete and I do hope you enjoyed yourself here today. Yeah, this is actually a really nice painting. I really did enjoy making this one, and as I said throughout this video, it's super difficult to pinpoint any major differences between these two brands. Honestly, it's even more difficult to actually notice the difference when the final results are done. So I guess you're left asking yourself why the drastic price difference, and the only reason I can think is that Winsor & Newton use higher quality pigment, but I mean, if the results are there, I guess there's something to do with light fastness. There's actually something to do with light fastness, and a lot of people do say to me that some of them are light fast and one of them will fade in the sun. I'm really not that good of an artist to tell you what is what. But apparently ARTEZA just don't last too well in direct sunlight, so don't put them in the sun, I guess. Well, unfortunately, that is all we have time for today. My name has been ADCArtAttack. His name is Kiba, and don't forget, Kiba plushies, they are ending real soon. They'll never be available ever again, so if you do want one, link down below. Make sure you get one. And you guys know I don't do so well with the outro, so I'm just gonna say bye. That was even worse.